up guys, it's Lady Calysta. Today we're going to be talking about Three Kingdoms. Now this video is sponsored by the developer of the game and it takes place in ancient China around 220 AD. And the game is a 3D RPG. It definitely has kind of beautifully stylistic Chinese art, but also has kind of the 3D model behind it. So very kind of a historical rich game. It is based on actual kind of legendary or historical figures. Everything in the game is pretty accurate. So as you're fighting different battles and there's different rebellions, these are all things that actually happened, which I thought was pretty cool. What I'm showing you guys here is the introductory hero screen. So they do give you the option to select the hero that you're going to start with. I made my selection and wanted to give you guys a bit of a visual. I just think the game is beautifully designed. And keep in mind, this is a mobile game, so it's available on Apple and on the Google Play Store. Super successful in Asia, and it's now coming over to the US in English. Very good voice acting. And I will say I was super impressed by how the game kind of walks you through each step that you have to do, and it does it not only with visual cues, right, which depending on the person you can kind of miss it, but it also speaks to you and it lets you know kind of what you're doing and what the purpose is. What you're seeing here is a card. Now this game is based on a card system in the sense that when you receive this card is symbolic of a hero that you're going to be able to utilize on the battlefield. What you're seeing here is basically the chapter. So it does have a very linear kind of quest mode where you can go quest by quest. And what I'm showing you is the chapter portion. And this is really important because you can utilize each of those cards basically signifies one army unit that you have. You can see I'm against 2 Han units. You can see my unit is all the way at the bottom of the screen in blue, and because I only have 1 hero card, I can only deploy 1 unit at a time. As you keep leveling up your hero, you're able to deploy more and more units. Another thing that's important to mention is this game does have a counter system in it. So you're going to have spearmen, archers, and cavalry, and they have counters. They're not and counters, guys, you know, you're professionals. If you watch this channel, you know how those things work. The counters here are spearmen are going to basically counter the cavalry, right? In some other instances, you would think that cavalry might counter spearmen. That's not the case here. Archers also can be countered by cavalry, so that's another thing to keep in mind. So be mindful of that when you're kind of progressing through the stages. And you can see here, it's important to get a 3 kind of star victory because it's going to let you sweep the stages, and we'll talk about that at a later time. After you finish each chapter section, you're able to also choose 1 card. This is pretty cool because the game built into it, right? Just by playing, you're able to unlock additional cards, and those cards are going to give you access to specific heroes and armies that you can then deploy within the game as you're doing additional chapters and different missions, which I thought was pretty cool. And that is all, you know, free to play, very free to play friendly because you can progress very easily, and it's actually a blast. Now, early on in the game, they are going to ask you to choose a lord, and if you're familiar with ancient China and some of the stories behind it, all these names are going to be very familiar. For my brother and I, we've played games like this in the past. He would always go for Liu Bei, I would always go for Cao Cao, and I did not stray from that. I went for it. Mighty Army is kind of what he's known for. And you can see as I scrolled through each of the different lords, this is in tune with how historically they've been portrayed, right? You know that Liu Bei has always been the gracious leader, and he's always been kind of like portrayed as the hero. And each of them has kind of like what they're known for. The one that I picked, Cao Cao, is known for having a mighty army. Once you select him, you are able to get his card, and you're going to be able to deploy him during your battles, which is great. And there's a variety of different things that you can do with the card. Now, what I wanted to show you guys here is basically the gameplay. So you can kind of freely roam through the various cities, which I thought was amazing because they're beautifully made. And there's a variety of different cities. They also have a pathfinder where you can select kind of who you want to go to, click go, and you go there. So For those of you that have played RPGs in the past, it can be so grueling to figure out where was that vendor that I need? Like, is it a left? Did I make a right? And as you unlock other cities, it gets super confusing. They've made it very simple so you can use the Pathfinder to find kind of who you need to go to. And they also have a carriage ride that you can take to the different cities. There is also a very kind of detailed story mode. So you're not just kind of grinding. There is a story behind it, and it kind of takes you along step by step. And they've really done a good job of interacting each character with one another. And as you're kind of progressing through the game and leveling up your hero, you're able to do additional things. Now, what I'm showing you guys here is how to level up your card. So once you get a card, that's awesome. But as you get something called soul stones, you are able to take those cards and basically level them up. And that is going to improve your strength, the amount of troops, right, that you can utilize. So it basically improves all your stats. So it's something that's really important. So you want to grind for those soul stones. Here I'm just showing you some of the events. As I said, super friendly from a free-to-play perspective. You can click claim. They definitely reward you for playing, right, which is fantastic. I think that's something that we're always looking for in games, and they do a really good job of that. And it's very entertaining. The other thing that I should mention is they do give you the option to recruit for free 5 times a day. So I'm showing you guys kind of how that works. This is the recruitment screen. You can do normal recruitments or diamond recruitments. And it's really fun. Like, you basically get to pick from, you know, a set of 4 cards. And then the cool thing, which I thought was kind of interesting, is after you select your card, they do let you know what you didn't win. So that can be really great if you got an awesome card, or really depressing if you picked a card and then you see someone that you either wanted or a higher grade card. There are different grades to the cards. Some are going to be silver. There's also like the elusive golden cards, right, that have just really amped up stats, and they're incredibly rare. They're a rarer hero that is obviously going to have pretty great skills. Now, each of the heroes, as I'm kind of going through this process, each of the heroes does have a specific talent or skill that they're able to employ on the battlefield. It might be a healing talent. It might be the talent that, you know, does aggro damage, right? Like damage to many enemies at one time, or it might be the type of skill that does damage to one specific one. This was pretty cool. You guys can see I got shouted out across kind of my kingdom there, where it says like I just won a golden card. I was really excited about that. Tavern, Cao Cao's cousin. So obviously I made him part of like the crew, and he is a golden card. So I was really excited about the fact that I was able to get this. And you can see the other cards that I did not get were not golden. I was curious. I was like, oh, are they all golden? Like, do they just give everyone a golden card? Not sure. But whatever, I got one. I was very excited. And you have the opportunity to get additional golden cards if you just keep grinding. So again, lots of really cool stuff that you can do. And because you're kind of toggling across different aspects of the game, it does keep it very interesting, right? So you're able to keep increasing the amount of heroes that you have as part of like your original group. And those are the guys that when you're going through your chapters, you're able to deploy all of them. Now, something that's important, and as you see kind of the gameplay of the game, and you're going to become an expert at this as you play, is you want to make sure you're constantly leveling them up when you can. You want to make sure that you are giving them the right level of aid, right? So all of them can have a vanguard after a specific level. Then there's additional kind of support functions that you can give them as you level up your main hero, right? Like you can unlock something at level 15, etc., etc. So that's something that's really important to keep in mind, because it really does help. As a rule of thumb, you want to make sure that your vanguard is probably your stronger hero, right? Out of the options that are given to you, they're going to be able to improve your overall statistics. But that's just something that I wanted to make sure you guys were mindful of. Now, this is important, guys, because as you're playing, you're going to notice that you keep getting cards, and you might be wondering, well, what's the purpose of getting all these cards? They're not useful. And it's funny because they actually have the protagonist say exactly that. Now, why is it important? Well, the reason that it's important is because you are able to take those cards and recycle them. And when you recycle them, they do give you additional perks, and they give you copper coins. Why do you need copper coins? Well, you need copper coins to be able to continuously level up your heroes. And as you're progressing in the chapters, being able to have kind of like higher level heroes is going to be super important because they do get super tough, where you need to keep in mind your counters, you need to keep in mind your formations, you need to keep in mind your hero levels, your battle gear. All those things are going to be really important. Battle gear, I'm showing you guys here. You basically click battle here for each of the heroes and you're able to equip gear that is going to help improve their stats. After you are able to equip all pieces of gear, you're able to advance the general card up a level, right? Which is really important. And here you can see how you equip the gear, super easy. As I mentioned, you get the gear by grinding, and they let you know how much gear you have. They also have a red dot next to the heroes that you're able to equip gear for. So it's very simple for you to figure out kind of like who you should focus on next. I know that that's something that sometimes people might wonder, well, who's ready for gear and who isn't? Well, the game kind of does that for you, and then you can decide who you want to prioritize versus not. Also, if you do click the piece of gear, it will let you know the exact chapters that you need to unlock to be able to get that particular gear. Super helpful, super straightforward. Now, this part I thought was really cool. This is called the tavern, you guys, and the tavern is so interesting to me because it's actually pretty nifty the way they did this. And the purpose of the tavern is basically to recruit new heroes. So as I mentioned, the game has intricately built in the fact that they want you to get as many heroes as possible to make the game as fun as possible. And you can see kind of here's our general list of heroes. And I clicked one hero just to show you guys. Obviously, you know that's tavern, and I had just gotten him. And I clicked on the table. And this shows you the heroes that are available, and you can toast to the heroes. And when you click toast, you're able to utilize your various forms of wine to get them to be super excited and potentially give you a fragment, right? And if you collect a certain number of fragments, you get the hero. So I thought that was actually pretty nifty. This actually does get updated. So you don't have the same heroes all the time at all. It does get updated. I actually had 4 and I managed to toast to the max 2 of them that I really wanted. And here I'm just showing you guys kind of what the peddler or the merchant has available. You can buy wine from him, you can buy flyers from him. The ultimate point of the tavern is to be able to hire or entice heroes. And if you look up in the rooms, you have a higher chance of getting higher level heroes. So you can see here, we have Ma Ling, we have Pan Fang, and I'm clicking toast and I'm showing you guys, I wanted to show you guys what it looks like. I have 4 different types of wine, and as you do different toasts, you can basically max it out, and then you get fragments for that specific hero. And you want to make sure that you're doing this every day, and eventually you're going to be able to unlock some pretty cool heroes with really great skills. Very easy to do, and again, like, this is the type of thing where there's so much in the game to keep you kind of entertained, and it's the type of game that if you put in the work, you're basically going to kind of get that outputted out back to you, right? Because you can also see through the list, you can see how many fragments, and then you can also upgrade your tavern so that you're able to get additional tables and better heroes, right? And you can see there kind of like what the requirement is. And again, a lot of the things that the game requires do need you to level up. So at the very bottom of the screen, you guys, where you see that green yellow kind of bar, that's your EXP bar. You can see right now I'm a level 6. And there's a variety of different things. You just kind of keep grinding, and that's how you keep getting additional experience. And again, using Pathfinder, you're able to see clearly kind of who to go to next. What I tend to do in the game, however, is using the right hand side. It will tell you what your next mission is. So if you kind of go ahead, click that, you can see that I'm doing that there. It will naturally take you to the next place that you should go. And guys, that is it for the first video. So far, you can see there's quite a bit going on. There is even more. So there's things like you are going to be able to have your own piece of land. You're going to be able to develop and build on that land. You're going to have technology, which is basically research, and handle research trees across all the various segments of your troops. So again, lots of really cool stuff going on that I will be covering. So this is a 2-part series, so there is going to be an additional video coming up. Let me know what you think of the game. If you've downloaded, I will include links down below as soon as they're available. Thank you so much for watching.